Hey everyone, it's Short Fiction Friday. In the past week, I read 4 short stories by O. Henry, Dorothy M. Johnson, Kathryn Ptacek, and Roberta Lannes. I'm going to give short reviews and then we'll pick some more short stories for next week too. I'll start off with the 2 stories that were in this collection. So that's the O. Henry and Dorothy M. Johnson stories. O. Henry's short story, The Caballero's Way, was first printed in July of 1907 in Everybody's Magazine. The Caballero's Way is the first appearance of the Cisco Kid. The Cisco Kid apparently was the basis for a lot of different movies and like a TV show. The Cisco Kid, he's an assassin, he's a murderer, and he's on the run from the law. And he has a girlfriend named Tonya who he occasionally visits. Trying to catch the Cisco Kid is a lawman called Sandbridge. And while he's after the Cisco Kid, he meets Tonya. And Tonya and Sandbridge actually end up falling in love. So I won't tell you any more about the story. I won't spoil what happens exactly. But obviously you know that there's going to be some sort of confrontation between Sandbridge and the Cisco Kid. Now, I quite enjoyed this story, and actually I had 2 goes at reading it. I read it the first time at about 2 a.m. in the evening, and I was a little bit too tired and I couldn't really concentrate on the story. The language is a bit dense. O. Henry often uses like the Spanish names for things. So when I was tired, it was a little bit beyond me. But then I gave it another go when I was fully awake and, I could Google a few terms, a few Spanish terms. And then it was totally fine. Like I understood exactly what was going on. So yeah, I'm glad I gave this another shot because it was quite good. All right, the next story I read is also in this collection. It's by Dorothy M. Johnson. The title is A Man Called Horse, and it originally was published January 7th, 1950 in Collier's Magazine. The story of this is really, really simple. Our main character is captured by Native Americans, and he becomes their prisoner and worker. He gets the name Horse, and the short story is just about him working his way up in this new society. This story is really, really simple, but it was excellent. I really liked this one. All right, next up, I'll talk about the Roberta Lannes story, Essence of the Beast. Now, this story is about werewolves, but there's kind of a twist on how the werewolves kind of work. So it's not to do with the full moon. In this story, the idea is when they're particularly emotional is when they start to transform into a werewolf. Now, this is an erotic horror short story. It's basically about the relationship between Chelsea, who's a werewolf, and Randall Buss, who is like a handyman construction worker who is working on the family house. There's a lot of family drama and even melodrama with this. I found a lot of the dialogue to be overly dramatic. This kind of genre isn't really my thing, to be honest. It wasn't bad. It was fine. Yeah, I don't have a lot of experience in this kind of genre, so it does just make me wonder, is this a standard kind of story for that erotic horror genre? Is this what Anne Rice is like, for example? I don't actually know. And essentially the tension in the story is between can this romance succeed, or will Randall Buss be attacked by the werewolves? So yeah, this story was okay. Not the kind of thing I would usually read, but it was fine. Okay, and the last story I read was Driven by Kathryn Ptacek. This story follows our main character, Carol, as she's having an extremely bad day. Everything's kind of going wrong in her life. You know, sometimes small things like she's in a minor car accident. The painting she wants framed can't be framed today. But there's also other bigger things having to do with her family life, having to do with her job and career. You know, you start off empathizing with her, but as the story continues, you kind of learn that she starts appearing more and more psychotic. This story was okay. This is like right in the middle. You know, this is a 5 out of 10, if ever there was one. Just as basic as it gets. All right, and if I were to rank these stories in my big list, you know, we're slowly building this list of short stories. O. Henry and Johnson were both really good. I'm going to put A Man Called Horse number 3. So, third best story I've read so far. And I'll put O. Henry fourth best. The other two stories not as good. I'll put Roberta Lannes above Ptacek because Lannes at least, you know, the story was quite unusual. It had weirder stuff going on. Whereas Driven seemed very boilerplate. So these stories will be number 8 and number 9 in my list so far. All right, I'm going to randomly pick some short stories for next week. The way this works is very simple. We're numbering these books 1 through to 6. So the first die that I roll, the 6-sided die, that chooses which book, and then the 12-sided die selects the story within the book. Now, next week is Halloween, so hopefully we get these 3 books, and I think a few of these are kind of horror. So there's a decent chance that I get all horror stories for Halloween, but we'll see. Really, we're hoping for numbers 4 to 6 so that I have an appropriate Halloween episode. Okay, we got number 5. That's the werewolf book, and story 8 within that. So the first roll's good. We've got a horror story. Looking for the 8th story. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're skipping over Lanes because we already read that. 7, 8. Cry Wolf by Basil Copper. And that's 9 pages. Very short one. I'm going to keep rolling the dice until we get to 50 pages or more. A Western. All right. So, third story. So 1, 2, and then we're skipping O. Henry. We just read that. We are reading Stagecoach by Ernest Haycox. Now, I've seen the movie Stagecoach, and it was, it was pretty good. I thought it was all right. We'll see how the short story is. Stagecoach is 19 pages, so we're up to 28 pages now. We've got 1 and 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, we have The Misfits by Arthur Miller. Isn't he more famous as a playwright? Am I thinking of the right person? All right. Be interesting to read a Western short story by him then. And that's almost 40 pages, so we're well over the 50 pages now. All right, so I'll put the selected short stories for next week up on the screen here. Go read these short stories if you can find them. Looks like my Halloween episode is going to be mostly Westerns. All right, thanks for watching. See you all next week.